Hello and welcome back, future scientists. I'm Mr. K with Mississippi Public Broadcasting, and I wanted to make sure I reviewed the cellular respiration and photosynthesis in a lot of detail with y'all. So that's what we're doing today. We're going to start off with this Venn diagram, and then I have some review questions to go along with it. So what I'd like for y'all to do, why don't y'all go ahead, take 5 or 10 minutes, pair up with a partner, see what y'all can kind of sort through when it comes to this Venn diagram, and then I'm going to go over everything with y'all, okay? So if you don't know something, just skip it and just do the ones that you for sure know. And then here in just a little bit, when the teacher thinks y'all have had enough time, y'all can come back to me and I'm going to get it going on the board with y'all. So go ahead, pause the video, pass out that Venn diagram, take a couple minutes, and then when y'all are ready, I'll be waiting and I'll review it with y'all. All right, so I know that didn't give y'all any problem, but just in case somebody's a little confused, let's make sure we go ahead and go over this and make sure everybody's on the same page. So what I'm going to do on your word bank, I'm going to kind of start up here at the top left and then go down. And then I'll go to the next column and kind of go like that. So that's the order that we're going to go in, and we'll just kind of put them into these little circles. Again, everything on the left is photosynthesis, everything on the right is cellular respiration, and anything that we think applies to both of them, we're going to put right here in the middle. Okay, so to get started with, the first one up there is mitochondria. Where should we put mitochondria? Is mitochondria used for photosynthesis or cellular respiration? I think we should put it over here. So, mitochondria. Okay, this is one of the main organelles used in cellular respiration. 2 of the 3 processes for cellular respiration happen in the mitochondria. All right, the next one is glycolysis. Glycolysis is when we take glucose and we split it. Does that happen in photosynthesis or cellular respiration? That is cellular respiration. So I'm going to put glycolysis here. Great job. All right, the next one is the thylakoid membrane. A thylakoid membrane. Do we use that for cellular respiration or photosynthesis? This is going to be photosynthesis. Okay? Thylakoid. Great. All right, and the next one is the Krebs cycle. So where should we put the Krebs cycle? That one happens in the cellular respiration as well. So Krebs cycle goes over here. Okay, great job. The next one is consumes glucose. Consumes glucose. So which one of these? One of them is making glucose and one of them consumes it. Which one consumes it? That's the cellular respiration, right? Consumes glucose. That's actually the first step, is that glycolysis for cellular respiration. So we really need glucose in order to do cellular respiration. All right, the next one is generates ATP. Generates ATP. Where can we put that one? I know my knee-jerk reaction is to say cellular respiration, okay, but actually producing ATP is going to go in the middle. Okay, so we do this, they both generate ATP. You might remember in photosynthesis, okay, the first part of photosynthesis, the light-dependent reactions, we do make some ATP. We make ATP and we make the NADPH. Okay, so they both make ATP. Cellular respiration just makes a lot more. Photosynthesis really just makes a little bit so that it can finish doing photosynthesis. But they do actually make a little bit of ATP. Great. So let's keep it going. Chloroplasts. Should chloroplasts go under photosynthesis or cellular respiration? I'm thinking photosynthesis. That's the main organelle for photosynthesis, is the chloroplast. So let's put that over here. Great work. All right, the next one is the Calvin cycle. The Calvin cycle. Now, I think it is kind of easy. The Calvin cycle is that one with a lot of different names. It is kind of easy to confuse it with the Krebs cycle because they kind of sound alike. But the Calvin cycle is part of photosynthesis. It's that one, so I'll put Calvin cycle here. But this has a couple of different names. Sometimes people call the Calvin cycle, you can call it the dark reactions, that's not a good name for it, or the light independent reactions, that's a better name for it, is the Calvin cycle. Okay? The next one here is produces glucose. So we have here that cellular respiration consumes glucose, and photosynthesis is the one that produces glucose. That's kind of the whole goal here. It's one of the most important things happening in photosynthesis is making that glucose. All right, the next word is grana. Grana, okay? Well, grana is photosynthesis. You might remember that a grana is just a lot of thylakoid membranes stacked on top of each other. So the grana is in a chloroplast. A grana is several thylakoids stacked on top of each other, okay? Great work, let's keep it going. So which one of these makes food? One of them makes food. Where should we put that? Where photosynthesis is the one that makes. And you can see that food is in parentheses because it's really just glucose, but we do eat that. So we'll say makes food over there. All right, the next one is occurs across organelles. Occurs across organelles. This one's actually going to go in both of them here in the middle. And I'm just going to write a little shorter, across organelles. Okay, so remember that photosynthesis and cellular respiration, they're both kind of within a particular organelle, but those organelles, the chloroplast and the mitochondria, they're both double membrane bound. So it's happening across both of those different membranes. So they are happening across organelles there. Okay, great. The next one is produces oxygen. So which one of these produces oxygen? That's the photosynthesis. Produces, and I'm just going to write O2 because it's a little smaller, okay? Produces oxygen. Okay, which one of these two splits water? Splits water is the next one. So photosynthesis splits H2O. That's in the light dependent reactions. We use that energy from the sun, and one of the things we use it to is to split that water molecule. All right, the next one says consumes water. So which one needs water in order to happen? Well, photosynthesis is going to be the consumes water, okay? Consumes H2O. And we need that water so that we can split it so that we can use those hydrogens for something else. Okay, the next one says, we just did consumes H2O. This one says consumes carbon dioxide. So which one of these consumes carbon dioxide? That's the photosynthesis again. Consumes CO2. Okay, great work. All right, this next one says involves energy. Which one involves energy? I think both, right? We're either making energy or using it to do something or storing it. So they both involves energy, okay? The next one, I have a chemical equation. The equation is 6CO2 plus 6H2O yields C6H12O6 plus 6O2. So this one is saying carbon dioxide and water come together to make glucose and oxygen. Which one is that? That should be the photosynthesis. So this first chemical equation, 6CO2 plus 6H2O yields, I'm going to write it down here, sorry about that, C6H12O6 plus 6O2. Okay, great work. So that is the chemical equation for photosynthesis. All right, the next one on my list here says produces water. Which one of these two produces water? That's going to be the cellular respiration. Produces H2O. Okay, great. All right, the next one says energy conversion. Energy conversion. I'm going to put this one in the middle again. Conversion. Because we are converting energy some kind of way, right? Over here we're using sunlight to make glucose, and over here we're taking that glucose and turning it into ATP. So we're making stuff or turning energy into a different way. So they both convert energy. All right, which one of these two needs light? That's the photosynthesis. It needs light. All right, the next one is autotrophs. All right, so autotrophs, those are producers. Do they do photosynthesis or cellular respiration? Autotrophs actually do both. So I kind of mentioned this earlier. Autotrophs, they can make their own food, they can make that glucose, but that glucose doesn't do much for them unless they turn it into ATP. So plants, cyanobacteria, algae, they do photosynthesis to make glucose, but then they also do cellular respiration to turn that glucose into ATP. Okay, great. The next one says chemical reactions. Well, these are both chemical reactions. So I'm putting it in the middle. Chemical reactions. Running out of room, but that one goes in the middle. Chemical reactions. All right, the next one is stroma. Stromas are in chloroplast. So where should we put it? We should put it in photosynthesis. So stroma. Okay, great work. The next one says consumes oxygen. So which one consumes oxygen? That's the cellular respiration over here. Consumes oxygen. Okay, great. The next one says produces CO2. Which one of these produces CO2? That's the cellular respiration. So what I hope you're realizing, like look at this. This says produces H2O, consumes H2O, produces CO2, consumes CO2, consumes O2, produces O2. So they're kind of opposites. Whatever cellular respiration needs is made in photosynthesis, and whatever photosynthesis needs is made in cellular respiration. They're the same equation. They just go in opposite directions. Okay? All right, we're almost there, y'all. Y'all hang in there with me. Okay, so we got 3 more. All right, the next one says heterotrophs. Which of these two does heterotrophs do? Well, they only do cellular respiration. They can't do photosynthesis, so heterotrophs go over here. Heterotroph. Okay? Second to last one is requires ATP. Which one of these requires ATP? Okay? What do y'all think? Okay, well, we do need a little bit of ATP to do the glycolysis, and we also need a little bit of ATP to do the Calvin cycle. So I think they both require ATP. Require ATP goes in the middle. And then our last one is another chemical equation. This is the equation for cellular respiration. So let's just write it here. This is saying glucose plus oxygen yields carbon dioxide and water. All right, great, y'all. So that is the Venn diagram. It's comparing and contrasting them. It has a lot in common. There's a lot of things that are different, but the things that are different are opposites of each other, okay? So great work. Take a second and add anything if you need to, and I just have a couple of review questions to go along with y'all. Okay, I got about 10 review questions. So let's see what we got, and we'll go ahead and get into it. Are y'all good on this one? We'll go ahead and move on to the questions then. So let's see what we got here. Like I said, these are some questions. Teacher, why don't you go ahead and pass these out? Students, use the Venn diagram that we just did. Use that as kind of a guide to answer these 10 questions. We'll see what y'all came up with, and here in just about 5 or 10 minutes, y'all can come back to me and I'll do them up here on the board, okay? So go ahead and pass these out, and then I'll review them with you here in just a little bit. All right, great. I know that was no problem for y'all at all. Just in case somebody's a little confused, I am going to go over them with y'all. So 10 review questions on photosynthesis and cellular respiration. Let's see what we can do here. All right, so number 1 says, which statement best describes animals that are heterotrophs? So kind of reading through this, which one kind of makes the most sense? I think letter D is our best option here. They are unable to synthesize organic materials from inorganic raw materials. All that means is that they can't make the food themselves. All right, here's the next couple. Number 2, most green algae can obtain carbon dioxide from the environment and use it to synthesize organic compounds. This activity is an example of which of these best fits that, you think? Okay, well, I see here autotrophic nutrition. That sounds right on the money, right? Because we know algae, if you're making organic compounds from carbon dioxide, that's producing your own food, right? What word means making your own food? Autotroph. And then nutrition is like, how do they do it? So letter D there is going to be our best option. All right, let's keep it going. Number 3 here says, in photosynthesis, chlorophyll functions in changing. What is it changing? Well, remember that chlorophyll, it's going to absorb the energy from sunlight and it's going to use it to do something. So I think letter C is our best option. Again, it absorbs that energy from the sun and it's going to turn it into bonds, that energy in between the bonds, okay? So light energy to chemical bond energy. That's what chlorophyll does. Okay, great, couple more. All right, here's 4. By which process are CO2 and H2O converted to carbohydrates? Okay, well, which process takes carbon dioxide and water and makes glucose? Well, hopefully at this point we know that that is photosynthesis. So that's the answer for that one, okay? D. Let's keep it going. All right, I got 5 and 6 up here. All right, 5. One immediate cause of a decrease in the rate of photosynthesis is a reduction in the availability of what? So not having one of these is going to slow photosynthesis down. Which one is going to slow it down? Well, plants need carbon dioxide in order to do photosynthesis. So if they don't have carbon dioxide, that's really going to slow it down. So carbon dioxide is going to be the one that we want to go with here. Okay, let's look at number 6. 6 says anaerobic means, what does anaerobic mean? Does anaerobic use oxygen, not oxygen, or does it mean it happens in the mitochondria? Anaerobic means it does not use oxygen. Okay, aerobic, right, kind of sounds like the word air. And what's in the air that we need? Oxygen. Okay, that prefix A means without. So without oxygen means it does not use oxygen. So letter B is the best one here. All right, let's check these last couple out. 7 says aerobic means what? Well, if anaerobic means it does not use oxygen, aerobic means it does use oxygen. And again, to me, aerobic kind of sounds like aerobic, right? Like air. What's in the air that we need? Oxygen. So that's how I remember the two. All right, let's keep it going. 8. Why is anaerobic respiration less efficient than aerobic respiration? So we really want to do aerobic respiration if we have the option. Why is that? Well, this is because aerobic respiration produces a lot more ATP. Okay? The anaerobic respiration makes a little bit, but not as much. So letter D is definitely the best answer choice there. All right, so I just got 2 more for y'all real quick. Let's see what y'all came up with for these. So 9 says, an experiment is set up containing an aquatic plant, Alodia, gas collecting equipment, and a light source. What gas is in the bubbles being produced by the Alodia plant? That's kind of a tricky one. So this is saying there's a plant, it's underwater, and there's little bubbles coming off of the plant, okay, when it's struck with the light. What gas would be in those bubbles? Well, what gas do plants make? They make oxygen, right? So oxygen, letter B, is going to be our answer because it is a waste product of photosynthesis. Okay, last one here. 10 says, which equation represents cellular respiration? We've got 2 equations. One is photosynthesis, one is cellular respiration. Let's see if we can tell which one's which. What do we put into cellular respiration? We need food and we need the oxygen that you breathe. Okay, and that's going to give you carbon dioxide, which you exhale, and a little bit of water. Letter A, looks perfect for me. Letter A is saying glucose and oxygen yields carbon dioxide and water, and that's basically what happens in cellular respiration. So I wanted to make sure I did a couple of review questions with y'all just to make sure we really get the hang of this stuff. Your teacher has some other assignments for you to work on, so make sure to give that your best effort, and I hope everybody has a great day.